It's a bear. Good morning. Hey, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. It is April 8th, lovely day out there in Lauderdale by the Sea, and it's Friday. Oh boy, I'm ready for the weekend. I hope you are as well. What's the temperature out here? 76, creeping up a little bit, but still kind of really nice. It's not those mornings, and we get them in Florida in the summer. We get those mornings you wake up, it's 85. I've been up at 4 a.m. when it's in the 80s, so even high 80s even. It's pretty crazy down here, but liking this cool weather. Looks like my camera jammed up a little bit. Well, yesterday I was speaking about talking about unallocated accounts and third-party risk, and a event that I went through personally that taught me a big lesson. This is very, very true. Someone told me this when I was a very young man. Making it is the easy part. Keeping it is the hard part. Absolutely true. I mean, until you get to the point where you made it, and even when I was younger, I can think of all the times that I didn't have a lot of money and all the poor decisions I made financially, and I made a lot of poor decisions as a young man. That I think that I would have been far better off if I had made the right decisions. So the other thing that goes with that is that you don't have to make a lot of money in life. It's what you do with the money that you make that's important. And I think that people that don't make a lot of money or don't have a lot of money, including myself when I was younger, just didn't realize the importance of not just savings, because you can't really make money savings. Even in an environment 20, 30 years ago, savings accounts didn't pay anything. You have to invest your money wisely. So it's all about investing. And what does investing look like? Investing can look like investing in gold and silver, like we talk about on a daily basis here. Investing can be stock market. Investing can be investing can be investing in your career, investing in your future, investing in a new job. Those are all things that can pay off. But really, making it is the easy part. Keeping it is the hardest part. But I digress a little bit about what we're going to talk about today, which is third-party risk and unallocated accounts. It might be a long one. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. Unallocated accounts are dangerous. Why? Because of third-party risk. And we'll go into this story right now. Well, hold on. This is actually, this is what caused me to think about this story, and I talked about it last week, were these articles on gata.org. Again, something that you should be reading weekly. These are the guys that talk about the manipulation in the gold and silver markets, and they know what they're talking about. This isn't some guy with a tinfoil hat in his mother's basement talking. These are very, very intelligent people who can explain exactly how the market is rigged, and the only way you can make money in a market is if you know how that market is rigged, or how the market is manipulated, or how to play that market, I guess I should say. How to game that market. And this site is great for that. Once you know how it's done, your confidence level increases dramatically. But they had a couple articles here talking about unallocated pool accounts, which reminds me of my instance. And here's another one that was this week: when buying gold and silver, avoid unallocated pool accounts. Twice this week. And the funny thing is, too, I had mentioned my little incident, too, at the same time that these articles come up. So maybe it's a good time to talk about third-party unallocated accounts. And the hardest part about making money is keeping it. And I'm going to go over a few things here. I don't know if many of you have seen this, but it was American Greed, the full opening, The Black Market of Dirty Gold. I like this series, actually. It was Stacy Keach was the guy that narrated the whole thing. But I was involved with this particular company that was involved with this black market dirty gold, and it was Elemental Metals. And they were originally Ohio Precious Metals, and I'll get into the details on this. But you can watch this on YouTube right now. It's called American Greed, Full Opening, The Black Market Dirty Gold episode. It's on CNBC Prime, but again, you can watch it here on YouTube. I watched this and my jaw dropped. So much of it too some of it was bullshit on this thing. They got the story wrong on some of it, and I don't think they went to the right places to look what really happened. But it's no less, it's kind of an interesting thing. God, it even gets into the cartels. This is where they got to really juice it up, make it look juicy when they show guys like this. But it was kind of entertaining to see the show. And again, this is something I was involved with, which was the Elemental and NTR issue when they were buying what was called called black dirty gold out of Miami. Give you a quick history on Wiki, and I'm not a big fan of Wiki, but they did have a kind of a small little blurb here, and let me just kind of blow that up a little bit here so we can read this a little bit easier. The history of Elemental is this. And I was with them before they became Elemental. Walter Lerman founded a metals refiner in Jackson, Ohio under the name Jackson Precious Metals. And I know who they were because I've been around that long, of course. It would run into financial difficulties in the 1990s and would sell to Alan Stockmeister, a native Jackson who owned many local businesses, including a local newspaper. He ended up naming it Ohio Precious Metals, I believe. And it brought a lot of jobs to that Appalachia, Ohio region, which is typically and always been a very poor region. But that company, Ohio Precious Metals, brought jobs to that area, and it was a very important part of that little town, that little area. And actually, when I had my account there, I became quite friendly with some of the people that worked at that place, and that was a shame by itself because they got taken down. Some people lost their pensions, lost their lifelong jobs there over a bunch of greedy scumbags, in my opinion. In April 2012, Ohio Precious Metals entered an agreement with April 2012, entered into agreement with NTR Metals to acquire the assets and of the name NTR Metals. In 2015, Bill Leroy, the president of Ohio Precious Metals, was named the company's CEO, and the company changed its name to Elemental. Now, I was dealing with Ohio Precious Metals originally when I went through this, and I remember a representative from Ohio Precious Metals calling me and telling me that Ohio Precious Metals, now listen to this, had purchased NTR, not the other way around, that I had nothing, because I told him I wasn't very fond of NTR for my own personal reasons, and a lot of guys in the industry didn't care for him, you know, from what I've heard. And again, my opinion, I didn't care for him either. So when I heard that they were merging with NTR, I was told, no worries, Ohio owns NTR, which turned out later to be completely untrue. And in March 2017, this is when all the shit went down, Juan P. Granda, former employee of NTR Metals Miami, was charged with buying gold from illegal mines in Peru. Well, this is where, you know, again, I had large amounts. I'm not going to go into any details or any specific names per se and give any details on how I got paid back. I was asked to form one of those non-disclosure agreements, so those particular subjects I'm not going to talk about, but I will go on some other things. In January 2018, these guys had pled guilty, and the NTR, the now defunct Florida-based NTR Metals in Miami, were jailed for 6 years after they pleaded guilty to money laundering. Elemental was not charged in the case against with the 3 gold dealers. And the reason I believe Elemental, which was Ohio Precious Metals, was not charged is because they were really completely innocent. It was a great company. I had no qualms. I thought Ohio Precious Metals was one of the greatest, and they were very fair with their metals, and they were their prices were good. They were very accommodating. It was a great refiner, probably one of the best in the countries, until, in my opinion, they got involved with NTR. When that happened, that's when all bets were off. NTR, in my opinion, was a greedy company. Didn't trust them. Again, that's me, in my opinion, but didn't trust them, and I don't even know if they're open today, but if they were, I still wouldn't do business with them because, in my opinion, I don't trust them. So we're jailed for 6 years. So these guys from Miami were jailed for 6 years, and this caused a cascade of events to happen. And again, how did I get tied up with this? Well, let's take a look at here. If you type in Bloomberg NTR Gold, you'll see that Bloomberg is the one that actually broke a lot of these stories about. My understanding is that NTR was doing this down there, and word had gotten out in South America or South America, where this was happening in Peru, that NTR was funneling illegal gold from Peru into Ohio Precious Metals, or what was now Elemental. And that's what got Elemental. That's what took Elemental down. That's what took that refiner down. That's what took all the good people that worked at that refiner down at the time, was NTR. And there's a lot that goes into this. You can read some of the articles here. Again, this could be a long story, but I think this is the original story that broke. How to become an international gold smuggler. Howard Vilches, a 23-year-old Chilean, exported $80 million in band gold. It all started with a Google search. Funny enough. Kind of interesting article and fun to read. You know, it looks like it's really a bunch of intrigue, but really when you think about it, and again, after watching the, where's that, this video right here, American Greed video, it makes it look so deep and so like such a big conspiracy, but it really wasn't. You know, there were nobody was checking gold coming out of anywhere in the world, more or less. And basically what was happening is that this gold, and they called it blood gold, which is kind of stupid. What it meant is that the government of Peru didn't get their hands or taxes on it, so it wasn't taxable gold. You know, they're talking about in these articles, well, it destroys the rainforest, which made me laugh because it's all bullshit. You know, they're talking about these little small miners that are destroying the rainforest. And if you've ever seen what these small miners do, and yeah, I know they use a little bit of mercury in it and stuff, but trust me, these guys aren't destroying the rainforest. The government destroys the rainforest. The very same people that were pissed because they didn't get taxes from these Peruvian miners. So I mean, that's a long, convoluted story. Should the gold been illegal, and should it been? No, it probably shouldn't have been. It should have probably just been taxed. They should have gone back and filed a civil or some kind of criminal civil thing that said, listen, you need to pay us for the taxes that we think you owed us from that gold that left Peru. Again, I digress, so let me not go there. But I laughed when they said that it had something to do with rainforest. It just, my gosh, these. And then I saw some regulators, some government regulators, some government official talking about it, and he made me laugh even more. But they typically do. They're the most clueless out of them all, I typically find. Anyways, if you type in your Google search, or as I like, DuckDuckGo, Bloomberg, NTR Gold, you'll find some pretty good stories that talk about how all this happened. And there's one of them right there, as I said. Kind of interesting story, but you know what? You have to read the story and watch the American Greed story with some kind of doubt in your mind, because a lot of it is hyped up and some of it's just plain bullshit. But again, they have to make a good story out of it. But no less, people were getting ripped off. NTR metals, and this was a good article by CoinWeek. And you can read this online, and it's by Joshua Gibbons about AG for CoinWeek. When he first heard about, well anyway, it goes into NTR metals was caught smuggling $20 million of gold from Peru. And again, you keep asking, what does this got to do with Brian? What does this got? How did Brian almost lose 6 figures on this? Well, we'll kind of get to that in a little bit here. And I'm trying to speed through this as well, too, and explain the danger of third-party risk. While his facts were, and it turns there's some truth, well, let's move along here. Who are NTR elementals and OPM? Well, to start learning about NTR and elementals, it helps you get a basic understanding of who and what elemental is. And we talked about who Ohio Precious Metals originally is. You know, it was a refiner that started, a great employee, a great refiner, and then it got involved with NTR. With over 45 company names involved, a subsidiary that is publicly traded, and Elemental not always using its own naming conventions, which I found when I started to do my own investigations, because here's what happened, and I'm going to tell you real quick. I do a lot of silver refining and some gold refining, and I'm by far not a huge company, but we buy a lot from the local pawn shops, the local dealers, antique dealers, a lot of the local. So we do a lot of refining for the local dealers here. And I send it a lot of silver. And again, I'm not going to go into detail. So I sent about you know, a six-figure number of silver up to Elemental to be refined. And what happens is I send it up there. I wait for them to receive these barrels that I send up, 55-gallon drums, and I wait for them to receive these barrels. They check them in. They call me and they let me know that you know, hey, we checked it in. Here's a check-in weight, and this is when the stuff will be processed, and you get paid on it. Well, you kind of get the routine what's happening here. So I get a call from a who was it? I get a call from a local refiner who actually went out of business too, and that's a story for another day. But you know, he was nice to me and he was friendly with me. I was doing a little business with him before I got into using a real refiner instead of a local. One of the little local guys that was, you know, they melt it down and they check it with an X-ray gun. I just, you know, went straight to the source to start doing it instead of. But this guy, Henry or Harry, I forget what his name is, but he was one of the local refiners. He ended up with another local, I believe, ended up taking out a lot of dealers and a lot of, they ended up pulling their own scam. understand, but I wasn't involved. You know, I didn't lose any money that deal because I wasn't doing business with them at the time. But this guy calls me and says, "Hey, Brian, did you hear what happened with Elemental?" I said, "No, I haven't heard anything." He says, "It sounds like they closed their doors." So, I mean, my knees got weak. My knees got weak, and I kind of got that flush feeling. I said, "What?" He says, "Yeah." He says that, you know, apparently they're in some kind of trouble for this and that and this and that. And he said, you know, "Do you got any metal up there?" I said, "Well, I sure do, man." Turns out he was good friends with the guy Bill up there, and gave me the guy Bill's personal phone number, his cell number, which, wow, I was very lucky to get that. But to make a long story short, he told me about it. I called up there. They told me, yeah, we are indeed closed. I said, "Well, you know, my barrel just got checked in yesterday. Can you send me back my barrel?" "Well, no, we can't send you back your barrel because we just can't do it." I said, "Well, it's still sitting there. Just come, you know, I'll come pick it up even." I was willing to drive up there and pick up my barrel of silver, or my barrels, I should say, barrels of silver. And, "Oh, no, you can't do that." And right away I get the spooky feeling things aren't right. But to make a long story short, I had called an attorney, figured out what my options were, which were not much at the time. I had discovered that my silver couldn't be returned to me because Scotiabank, who again, in my opinion, is a pretty, I don't trust them, and that's my opinion. Again, strictly an opinion. I don't trust Scotiabank, never have. I think there's big issues with them. Again, my opinion, I could be wrong, but don't trust them at all for various reasons. But apparently, Scotiabank laid claim to my silver. Now, don't ask me how that works. Don't ask me how I ship my silver, who I never sold to Elemental. I never sold it to them. They had no claim on it other than they were doing me a service. I send my silver to them to refine for me, and oftentimes they would turn it into silver bars for me, which I would resell. I send my silver to them to refine, and I call them up and say, "Well, it's my silver, return it to me." Well, apparently they said they can't do it. Eventually I find out it's because Nova Scotia lays a claim on my silver. Now, how does that work, folks? I just don't know. But come to find out, I look in the state laws in the state of Ohio, and a refiner, which I think was Ohio Precious Metals or Elemental, had gone in and written state law or some kind of law that said once the metal was in the door, it belonged to them. Weird state law. But on top of that, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how Nova Scotia Bank owned my silver, which I never sold. And also Nova Scotia claimed that they had, or said that they had loaned a large amount of money to this refiner, which could have been questionable whether that was illegal or not too, from what I had been told. However, I'm not going to go there, and I was, you know, documenting all this stuff. You know, who was involved, who took my metal, how were they able to legally do that, what Nova Scotia was up to in the past, their prior kind of deals, and some things that I heard about that were rumored. Again, this is all stories that I'm telling here is factual stuff. So I'm gathering up all this information, and I'm thinking, well, gosh darn, I feel like I've been screwed here, you know. I've been screwed by this company. Again, I'm going to try to keep this story short, and it talks about third-party risk. I'm going to be screwed by this company because apparently they're telling me that they own my silver. Now, granted, my silver never even made it into the Elemental pool account. I'll tell you what the pool account is. My metal goes up in these 55-gallon drums to a refiner. The refiner eventually weighs them in, and they melt it all, and they give me a total amount of silver, pure silver, that I had in those barrels. And then they take that amount and they stick it in what they call a pool account. Well, first off, my metal never even made it into a pool account, number one. My metal was still sitting in barrel up there when this all went down. So I still don't understand how Nova Scotia could lay a claim on my silver. And then, but what the pool account is, it's where they take your silver and they put it into what they call a pool account, which means there's no bars, and there's no stack of bars that said Brian Kuzmar Commercial Rare Coins on them. It's just simply stuck in with other customers' silver and what they call a pool account, where they throw everybody's stuff together. Those are dangerous as well, and there's a reason pool accounts are dangerous, again, because your name is not on them. Everybody can lay claim to it. But to make a long story short, I wasn't getting this silver back, so it was the first time that I have ever been in the situation where a lot of money that I had worked hard for was about to be taken away from me. So I called a friend of mine, Jeff Garrett, who's a coin dealer and he actually works one of the best coin dealers in the country, in my opinion, one of the top coin dealers in the country. And Jeff gave me some very wise words, and I hope he doesn't mind me using his name here. He said, "Don't be a nice guy." He says, "I've been through this when I was younger." He says, "Just don't be a nice guy." And I thought about that because I was kind of calling up this company. And again, I don't want to be long-winded. I was calling up this company, and here, let me take a look here and get that started. I was calling this company and being really nice to them. And again, the employees, there was nothing wrong with the employees. They were all doing their job, but I was calling up the owner of the companies. I was calling up their attorneys. Well, what can I do? I was being real nice. Well, let me know how I can get my money back. And again, Jeff's advice to me was, don't be a nice guy in that situation. Nice guys come out last. And so I cranked up the heat. I started telling them that I had information, and I did. I was going to call Bloomberg, and I was going to. And I became really the squeaky wheel in their little deal there. And I can tell you that things turned out well for me. My understanding, eventually things turned out well for everybody. I won't say turned out well for me. I lost some money in attorney fees and some other things that I can't discuss, but no less, it ended up, I ended up getting most all my money back. I was thankful of that, and I don't think I would have got it back quickly. And if I'm correct, I was one of the first people paid. Again, the reason I think, is because I was going to be squeaky wheel, and I was going to make as much trouble for them as I could. And I didn't care if they went bankrupt or not. I was pissed at that time. So I was going to either get my money or cause them all to go to jail or do something severe like that. And that was my whole intention. And if I had to live out the rest of my life just making sure that happened, I was going to make sure that happened. So it was great advice, and it actually worked for me. And good point being is when you're in a situation like that, don't be a nice guy. Play hardball. Get your freaking money back, because, again, nice guys finish last in these kind of situations. So that's my explanation on how or not my explanation, but that's my story on how I almost lost quite a bit of money there. Interesting story again. I'd recommend you read How to Become an International Gold Smuggler, just to know, the story behind the refiner. And what else was? This is interesting, the Black Market and Dirty Gold episode by CNBC on this. Again, just go to Google and type in American Greed Full Opening, the Black Market Dirty Gold episode. I'm sure you can watch the whole thing somewhere. And this is what I was involved with. This was my third-party risk, and this is my story on, this right here. Making it is the easy part. Keeping it is the hard part. Unallocated accounts, extremely dangerous. And why? Because third-party risk. And this is why I don't like ETFs. ETFs are unallocated accounts. At any time, no matter how well-intentioned these ETFs are, or no matter what, then I don't believe they actually own the metal at all. I think it's a big sham to start with. But again, that's my opinion. There's a lot of risk. You don't have a silver bar with your name on it in there. It doesn't say, this is Jim Smith's silver bar. It doesn't have a serial number, nothing. You're in a pool account. Your risk is pretty heavy. If that ETF goes belly up or something bad happens to the ETF, it doesn't even have to be something that the ETF caused. Just like with Ohio Precious Metals and what happened with me, Ohio Precious Metals was an innocent player in this. All those people at the refinery were great people. They did nothing wrong in this. They were, actually here is the company right here working in, they're showing some shots in the video here, American Greed. But they were a great company. Oh, here's that government official, by the way. Talking about the environment, why it was bad. Bullshit. It was all about taxes for these people. It had nothing to do with that. But I digress again. But again, the key to getting wealthy is investing wisely and keeping your money and limiting your third-party risk. The nice thing about gold, silver, and platinum bars, not paper, not ETFs, in your hand, is that you eliminate that third-party risk. Now, you do have risk when it comes to theft, but you know what? If you can't hide something in your house, in your yard, or you can't hide something and keep it out of somebody else's hands, I mean, that's just like an age-old. You're much safer hiding something than you are hoping that it's good in somebody else's hands, generally speaking. Here is, well, anyways, to get into NTR, NTR was also owned by, who is it? Provident Metals, DSGE, and I think DSGE also was involved with Rolex or something, or the USA Rolex or something, but I'm not quite sure. I don't remember. But this company was pretty heavy, so I think the reason I got my money, again, was because I was a noisy wheel. You know, I was a noisy gear. I was going to make a lot of trouble. And they said, well, let's just get rid of this guy first. And I wasn't that a large amount of money as well. So that is probably why. Good story here on the US Coin site. Again, where is it? It goes year by year, but what happened here? And 2017 is when everything kind of hit the fan here. And what happened actually? Why did the blood gold hurt and cause Elemental to go out of business? Now think about this. Elemental, the refiner itself, did nothing wrong. They didn't do anything wrong. NTR, another one of the companies they're involved with, and again, the company that I can't stand, I don't trust, for my own opinion and my own reasons, they're the ones that took Elemental, the refiner, down, or Ohio, or the, you know, what used to be called Ohio Precious Metals. And how did that happen? Well, here's what happens: is that blood gold, what they called it, which is bullshit. The blood gold that comes out of Peru, and really, let's call it what it is: untaxed gold. It got through Peru without being taxed. It got through the U.S. without maybe being taxed. The untaxed gold, well, not through U.S., but through Peru. The untaxed gold that came through got into the gold and silver bars that Elemental refiner made. Elemental made gold and silver bars for LMBA delivery. LMBA has a very strict policy that you can only sell them gold bars and silver bars that are number one 49s, 9999, and the second thing is they have to come from gold and silver mines that are from legit places. They clearly state they can't have gold coming from what they call blood mines. Again, really it's all about taxes, folks. They can't have gold coming from that, otherwise they'll just shut you down. So there was so much, they didn't know how much gold was coming. There's so much gold coming into Elemental refiners. I mean, you know, millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of gold, and then a little bit of gold that came in from this Peru deal out of the NTR people from Miami tainted the whole supplies. LMBA in London came out and said, we're not going to buy your gold and silver. So what happened is Elemental sitting on all this gold, silver, and platinum that nobody will touch, nobody will buy because it may have blood gold and supposed blood gold. They basically got gold and silver and precious metals, including mine in there, which might as well have been radioactive with uranium because nobody wanted to buy it. And there you go. That's the issue right there. And that's basically what happened. That's what put Elemental out of business, Ohio Precious out of business. NTR put them out of business. And the owners of NTR, or whatever companies they're involved with, they basically put Elemental out of business. And that's how it happened. So great article here, and again, oh, hold on. Why is illegal gold bad? The one thing that I disagree with this here. The first and biggest problem is that illegally mined gold usually has serious problems associated. Mostly, illegal mining companies are extremely irresponsible. Rained, forced, or destroyed. Workers are damaged by mercury. In one Peruvian town, 41% were exposed to mercury contamination. Yeah, that happens, but trust me, folks, it's on such a small scale. This has nothing to do, blood gold or illegal gold has nothing to do with the environment. You know, Peru could give a shit about the environment, man. The same people that are complaining that, you know, it has everything to do with taxes. So again, this makes me chuckle right here. The lesser issue with NTR miners, like other refiners, have certification showing that their metal is from conflict-free metal and responsible gold. Remember, this is what I was just telling you about, which means that Elemental, or what used to be Ohio Precious Metals, the refiner in Ohio, had tainted their entire supplies, with what they could have been called conflict metal, or blood metal, so to speak, or irresponsible gold, which again really means untaxed. And so they basically had an entire supply of gold, silver, and platinum that nobody in the world would buy because they were afraid that nobody would buy it from them. It was tainted. But anyway, I think that kind of blew over. Elemental ended up ended up paying everybody, I believe. I believe they did pull themselves out of the situation, but no less, it did hurt a lot of small dealers that had borrowed money to buy scrap gold and silver, and they had to wait, I don't know how long, a year, 2 years. And again, I don't know what the final details were on this whole episode, because I immediately, as soon as I got my money, I just cut all ties and just tried to forget it, to be honest with you. Good article in Coin Week by NTR Metals about illegal South American gold, and also you should look at the American Greed special here too as well. And that's my whole lesson on third-party risk, and also on what was the other thing, is how I almost lost quite a bit of money myself. And, well, again, I think you got the whole point there, how important it is to have precious metals in your own hand. Third-party risk is not just the, the potential of an ETF going belly up and you own GLD or SLV. And again, this is my opinion, and that goes belly up or something like that and goes away. Third-party risk can also mean, when you're ordering gold from somebody. And listen, I order gold from people, so I don't necessarily, kind of thinking to myself, well, I hope people trust me on this, but there's always some level where you're going to incur some third-party risk, unless you can physically buy the metal and pick it up and have it in your hands. But that's very difficult to do in large quantities. So when you're buying larger quantities, you do have some risk involved with it. There was a good, hang on one second, let me take a look at that article he had here. Where is it? NTR Coin Week. There it is, Coin Week. He did have a nice little thing down here that I could finish up. And this gentleman wrote the article, and I always recommend that people use common sense when doing business with bullion dealers, or anybody, and not just bullion dealers, whether you are an individual, a coin store, or a bullion wholesaler. The simplest advice: never place an order so large that it will cause you financial harm if something goes wrong. That's really good advice. And after I sent all my barrels up to Elemental to get refined, and in one big lump, now, even though I'm using a new refiner that I really love and I think they're great, I send it in smaller quantities, because that's good advice. Never place an order so large, because that's third-party risk. When I'm sending my metal up there and I'm waiting for them to refine it and pay me, I'm involved in some risk here. And as you notice, that risk doesn't even have to be with a refiner. It can be with someone that takes them down, and then they take me down. So third-party risk, try to eliminate as much as you can in your life. And again, I always recommend, if you're buying gold or silver and precious metals, don't let anyone else hold it. Hold it yourself. Just be creative in where you hide it or where you put it. So that's my recommendation, because when you let someone else hold your metals and hold your stuff, that's huge third-party risk. I'm going to end it with that and go into zero hedge. Not too much to talk about in precious metals today. Looking at ZH, not too many articles there. No good articles as far as economy getting any better, and believe me, I'd like to see some good news from our economy, other than the spin that they give us. So not too much here. In fact, a couple of scary things. We keep talking about black swans, black swans. Well, black swan can cause the price of precious metals just to sail through the roof. This little thing going on with Ukraine and Russia, even though it's kind of been a tit-for-tat back and forth for some years now, I'm a little concerned with the United States getting involved, and especially with Joe Biden getting involved. Maybe a good way to get the country together is to get us into another war and get our minds off the fact that we really don't like what they do up in Washington, D.C., either party. So that kind of scares me a little bit, and Biden is giving weapons to the Ukrainians and kind of fanning the flames over there. That concerns me. That could be a black swan as well. But, I don't want to see prices of precious metals go up over a war. I mean, people dying is not the way you want to see to make money. But again, gold, silver, and platinum is a good hedge against risk like that. So let's move along to gata.org. Not too much here. Again, we just talked about that. Stephen Gleason talks about rising debt means a weaker dollar, and a weaker dollar is good for precious metals. Again, I hope that Basel III rules may not hamper gold price suppression much. Again, I can't tell you how good gata.org is as far as pointing out where the suppression, where the manipulation is, and how it happens. These guys spell it out. It's not a tinfoil hat conspiracy bullshit. This is the real deal. Make sure you have them on your website for sure, or on your bookmark bar, I'm sorry. I'm going to get into comments from yesterday, and here we go. Yesterday's video was a hell in a handbasket. And I had I can go off on some things, and I appreciate you watching it yesterday. Let me kind of here. Let me do a quick thing here. I just discovered this button recently. Go figure. Newest first. So I'm gonna go down to the bottom, answer a few questions here. Stop bragging about gorgeous weather. I'll move next door and complain about the heat every friggin' day. Savoy, if you moved in, hey, you know what? You'd have a great local coin guy like me to buy all your precious metals from. So that's not a bad thing, you know. And I can, I don't have to listen to the complain about the heat. So, Bo Merchant first again. Black silver staff. Went fishing after work. Caught nothing but sunfish. What's a sunfish? Oh, I know it's sunfish. It's like what we call bluegill down here. Except they didn't spend $10 trillion. Stop the whoa now. Recover the U.S. toast. Who runs the Federal Reserve? Central banks do. Yeah, that's true, and I agree with you. Thanks for watching. Stop the whoa now. Jim C. says people will not go back to work as long as unemployed pays them extra currency. Unfortunately, that's true. It's getting hard to fill jobs in certain situations. If someone's getting an unemployment check, and I can't blame them. You're sitting at home, you're getting, what is, I don't know, $200, $300, $400 a week or something like that, and that's all you were making to begin with. I don't know. So I agree with you on that. It's not a good thing overall. Juice R. Evil says the satanic ones that run everything are creating a two-tier society. Okay. Thanks for reading Juice R. Evil. Pal Hanna says MMT, more money today. Exactly. Too many people in South Florida. Wow. RF or 424 Street. I can't, absolutely, that's true. It is getting so crowded down here, I'm waiting to the point where I can retire and sell this place and move somewhere else. PZ says, thanks for the content. MMT sounds like the delusions of children or constructive all evil. It is doomed for failure. Yeah, I think MMT, and that's what yesterday's video was about, or the one, the comments we're talking about here. It was about MMT. Support MMT, eliminate all federal taxes. That's an interesting thought. I never even thought about that way. But for some reason, I don't think MMT means they're going to eliminate taxes. For some reason, we're already on some form of MMT right now, and they haven't eliminated any taxes. So, I think they're just going to double dip on this. Mr. Himhan, or Mrs. Himhan, I'm not sure who you are. Stephen Polish says, if we believe silver is going to 50 plus an ounce, then a $10 premium is still a pretty good deal. It is, Stephen. No doubt $10 is still a good deal, but here's the thing, is you don't have to pay $10. You don't have to pay $8 for an ounce to premium on silver. There's a lot of silver out there still available for less than $5 an ounce, and that's what I've been talking about. I'll get to that in a little bit after I'm done with comments. Stephen Pollock says, if we believe silver is going to 50 plus, an ounce and a $10 premium. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I just read that. Reese Berry says, I'll just say Venezuela. Well, when it comes to, I don't know if they're doing MMT, but when it comes to debasing a currency, yeah, man, they did it for sure. With the help of the U.S. dollar, weaponizing the dollar. Dewey Raimondo says Japan's national debt is 230% to the GDP. U.S. national debt around 120% to GDP. The more they keep printing, the faster I'm converting my paycheck into fiat, into lithium, cobalt, gold, silver, stocks, and physical. Hey, thanks for watching, Dewey. And that's what I talked about yesterday, is that I think that we're in for a major commodities booms, that a lot of these commodities have been super cheap for years and years and years. And that's probably one of the reasons we haven't seen big inflation, because the cost to build products has been cheap for a long time. I believe that's going to change, and it's already changing. Gold and silver have been a bellwether for that, and have shown us that I believe that other commodities are going to start going up as well, and that the cost of living is going to go up dramatically, and inflation is going to rear its ugly head in a big way. Not a good thing, but again, this is the reason we own gold, silver, and precious metals. Cheap, easy money, Kim Kardashian, we're playing the Find the Cinnamon. Awesome, I got one. Okay, I won't read that one. Sorry, thanks for watching anyway. Great information. I got to kind of speed through a few of these because, man, these comments are getting longer and longer. Thanks for watching Dumb Things You See. I noticed that you are in my neighborhood, by the way. Appreciate you watching here. Stop by the store so I can attach your face to who you are. Eve Gary says, I don't think anyone should be left out when going for IQ options. Well, I'm an equal opportunity IQ disser, so I agree with you 100%, Harry. Well, that's really about it. Let's take a look at precious metals prices. I'm going to do a quick, wow, it's a long video today, and maybe it's because of my story there. Sorry about that. Metals are down a little bit today, and I think the coin said bear too as well. So let's see if it's a bear market at the end of the day, or we have an up day in New York. I have a feeling it's going to float around this level here and hang on to 25. And it looks like the platinum's hanging on that 1212 level. Whatever the range is here, 1732, 1757. I think we're going to stay in these ranges for the rest of the day here. I don't know if it's going to close higher than it was yesterday. Probably not. I don't think so. Even the coin didn't think so. But let's see what happens. Monday's a whole different story, but no less, these dips provide you a great opportunity to buy at a little lower price. Let's go into the best deals out there. 90% is still the best deal out there. If you're paying more than $5 an ounce premium for any type of silver, I think you're paying too much. That's my professional opinion. When you can buy 90% at spot plus $4, you can still buy 10-ounce bars and 100-ounce bars for under $5 per ounce premium. We have them here in stock. I recommend that you stick and buy with, stick to your local dealer and buy from your local dealers. Best deal out there in gold is still gold bars, gold eagles. At what the heck is it? Gold and silver. Silver Eagles at $9 to $12 over spot is ridiculous. Love the product. Love to tell you to buy American, but in this case, overpriced, folks. Same thing with Gold Eagles at $170 to $200 over. When you can buy gold bars at less than $100 over spot, you probably should stick to that. Same thing with silver. When you can buy Silver Eagle or silver bars 90%. And by the way, 90% is made by the same people that make Silver Eagles, the U.S. Mint. When you can buy that for under $5 an ounce, that's what I recommend. Unfortunately, the premiums are just crazy on gold and Silver Eagles. Again, lots of better products out there to buy that you can buy more silver for the buck, more bang for the buck. Well, that's really about it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in a long-winded show today. Man, I think it had to do with me telling my story there. Stories get long. Sorry about that. Well, that's really about it. If you got any questions, give me a call at 954-493-8811 between the hours of 10 and 4, Mondays through Fridays. Happy to tell you what the best deal of the day is or any questions that you may have. Make sure you check out my other videos. I have quite a few, as you can see over here. Where's my video channel? There it is right there, I think. Oh, no, not there. But no less, make sure that you check out my other videos and do the like thing and do the subscribe thing if you're not subscribed already. And that's really about it. If anything crazy happens today, I'll do a second video. If not, I'll talk to you Monday. Have yourself a great weekend, and hey, thanks for watching.